Hey everybody, welcome to day 3 of our cortisol challenge. And today we're talking about choosing focus and power and returning to peace. We're also going to talk about the power of peace because a lot of people, when we're discussing releasing and regulating cortisol or stress hormones, they're just thinking about regulating the nervous system. And that is like going back to 0 point or to neutral. It's not getting you to a place of thriving. It's not getting you to a place of joy. It's not getting you to a place of peace. And peace is really that state of emotional high frequency that I like to call my neutral. I like to um, be in a pretty persistent and constant state of emotional and spiritual peace. And then I can have higher frequency emotions than that. But anything lower than peace is not actually neutral. It's still a state of dissociation. It's still a state of shock. It's still a state of disengagement. I'm not really going to care. I'm not really going to get involved. And the reason I'm so passionate about this is because it creates freeze in the body, right? One of the biggest things that you guys ask me on a regular basis is, why am I not taking action? And often it's because you're confusing a state of neutrality with actually being in physiological or psychological freeze. A state of neutrality should be peaceful, should feel good. It shouldn't just feel like meh, it should feel good. And that's a really, really important place of power. Whoop, you guys are flooding in. Hi, everybody. Hi, Oana. Hi, Sarah. Hi, Joanne. Hi, Purnima. Whoop. Yeah, so creating a powerful state of peace, really choosing peace as a state of power. A lot of people are like stuck in the fight response or stuck in the flight response, and it's an energy of, well, why should I regulate my emotions or my feelings if the other person is at fault? And the answer is because it's your body and you have to live there, right? Exactly when it's somebody else's fault, exactly when it's something that you potentially have nothing to do with, like the news or your kid being upset about an exam, or your mom having an argument with your sister or your mother-in-law. You have no business holding toxic energy in your body, in your mind, in your energy, in your frequency, right? Because of things that are outside of your control. So that's the first thing we're going to look at today, is that cortisol is directly related to you having a feeling of certainty and of being in control. Okay, so if you would like, I'm going to bring in some downloads for creator's perspective, definition, and understanding of control. Is that okay? There we go. Oh, that's moving really nicely. And then can we download you that it's safe for you to focus on what you can control? And it's safe for you to take your power back. So control is a strange one, because we often regain control through actions, and most of you will probably have experienced like anger cleaning or sad cleaning, or wanting to reorganize your entire wardrobe after a big move or a breakup or a significant shift in identity, right? So control often starts with us taking control of our immediate environment. And that's why you see the archangels saying, clear out the clutter in your wardrobe, clear out your kitchen. There's something really powerful about organization and the recovery of a sense of control. It's so powerful that there are studies that show that people that help clean up after big natural disasters like hurricanes or tornadoes or floods have a much lower rate of PTSD, have a much lower rate of mental health problems, and are able to return their nervous system to regulated much faster than the people that don't help organize and clean up, right? So control starts with small actions about taking control of your environment. It literally takes the feeling of shock and of overwhelm down because it makes you focus on the little things that you have complete control over, right? You have complete control over which pens you have on your desk. You have complete control over what clothes are inside your wardrobe. You have complete control over that bit of, trash going in the bin. And that puts you back into focusing. Just like when you focus on gratitude, it puts you back into focusing on what you do have control over. Because when you're focused on something that you don't have control over that's hurting you emotionally, it creates more emotional and physical pain. It makes you spiral and it creates the overwhelm. So anywhere where you're focused on things that are out of your control, can we bring in Archangel Michael and just cut the cords to that, please, so that we can bring your center back to things that are within your control, how you spend your time, how you focus your mind, what you do with your day. There we go. Oh, that's moving really nicely. Some of you have like defeated posture, the angels are showing me. You've just felt out of control for so long. Can we like pull your shoulders back, open up your heart? There we go. Think like a backward yoga bend. You need to physically open up your heart. Oh, much better. And this is energetically very powerful. Some of you are giving so much power to a situation because you're thinking about it and you're sending anger, but you're doing it unconsciously. Or you're thinking about it and you're sending it worry and you're doing unconsciously. There's conscious creation, which is when we want to manifest and we know what we're manifesting. We make the vision board and we're sending unconditional love. But most manifestation is unconscious. Most manifestation is your emotional and holographic imprinting response to your external environment. It's what you were pre-programmed with as a soul, as a child. So you may be angry at something, disgusted at something, frustrated at something, and you just think that's what you think, but actually it's the frequency that you're sending out, and it's always frequency first when it comes to health. It's frequency first when it comes to manifestation. The energy says everything. So whenever you're wanting to change a situation that's stressing you out, you want to flip it so that you are now sending it love instead of sending it anger, because you don't want to energetically charge something with an energy that you don't want in your life. And you also don't want to give it the power to make you angry. So if you're sending a situation anger, guess what? Your anger is in that energetic situation, and it's a vibrational match, an exact vibrational match for how you feel and the frequency that you emit when you're angry, because you poured that frequency into it. So all of you that have been resisting, can we send an instant healing to the situations that you're giving anger to? We don't send love because we're superior or spiritually of a higher vibration. We send love because we need emotional and spiritual detachment and acceptance to be free, right? There is love to reconnect and there is love to release. There we go. Okay, that's looking really good. I'm going to look at a few of the... Okay, Sarah saying, "Hi Sky, I want to finish university after years of pausing. My nervous system would always freeze during exam time, and now any decisions that have to do with university makes me panic." It's not about the exams. It's not even about university. It's the fear of having a bigger level of responsibility without more support. It's a deep, deep, deep support wound. So let's bring in the angels of support and nurturing. Okay, Archangel Shamuel coming in really strong, and Archangel Raguel to heal the neglect trauma so that you're able to get the time and the support that you need to be able to take on the bigger responsibilities of studying, but also of being a professional once you graduate. And that it's safe for you to trust yourself with that higher level of responsibility, and it's safe for you to allow that higher level of responsibility. And so it is. Okay, that looks super cute, cool. Joanna saying, could I please have some guidance on how to move forward and leave the past behind? I feel stuck. Thank you. So I'm hearing Archangel Metatron say really loudly, you have to make a future that's more exciting and more powerful than your past. And that what you're doing right now is you're putting the best things inside your life behind you instead of in front of you. And the words that he's saying is the best is yet to come. You have to reframe it that the best days of your life, the best opportunity, the best things are yet to come. Good things are coming. Energetically, you've put them all behind you. So energetically, can we take all the good things that have already happened and magnify them, multiply them by 10, 20, 30, 40, 100, and put them in your future, right? That there are more good things in heaven and earth, that there are more people that are going to love you, that there are more incredible things and divine gifts and experiences and opportunities and wonders waiting for you than you have let yourself imagine, than you have let yourself receive. I want you to open your hands wide and say, I receive all of my good. There we go. Beautiful. Presetti say, I am living with a flatmate and I am willing to move out. I think the environment is influencing me with too much stress. Can you please make a reading? Will it take long for me to move out? No, but we're back to this is why I think I was channeling the guidance to send the situation love. Don't send your flatmate resentment. Don't send your flat resentment. Don't send your job resentment or your boyfriend resentment. If you know you're moving on, send them love, because then it makes it easy for the new opportunities to come in. And the new opportunities that come in are a vibrational match for the loving opportunities that you want instead of the past, right? You want to be in the frequency that you want creating in the future. The present is a reflection of your past frequency. The future is a representation of your current frequency. So just allow yourself to shift, evolve, and grow. There we go. So send your room love, send the flat love, send the flatmate love, and also send it out to the universe. Thank you for this experience of showing me that who I share space with, who I share room with, matters. There's also beliefs here they're showing me around abundance. You don't believe you can afford your own flat. And the universe is saying you absolutely can, but you might have to go a little bit further afield than you planned on going. And you might also have to increase your capacity to receive or increase your income. But the message is really strong. It's like, stop holding yourself back. You need to stop having faith that you can't do it. You need to have faith that you can, that you will, that you shall, that it's already happening behind the scenes. There we go. That's moving nicely. Kelly saying, hi, Sky. I'm so happy I got you live. Any recommendations to clear the cortisol from the body? So we've done the physical recommendations on the first day. Um, right. So let's talk about the first things first. When it comes to cortisol, relationships matter most. Okay. It's not just about doing healing and crying and shaking exercises. Relationships are the number one determining factor of longevity and health. You need to allow yourself to talk about difficult things with your friends. You need to allow yourself to let it out. Conversation regulates the nervous system, especially with people that love you and that get you. Talk, connect, let your guard down. It's really, really powerful and really, really important. Do not suffer in isolation or in silence. Good conversation immediately regulates the nervous system. That's why often you can see your best friend or see your mother or see someone you trust after having a traumatic experience and you spontaneously burst into tears, because literally you're releasing the cortisol. You're feeling safe again. Okay. Second is food matters. When you're stressed, you are using more magnesium, zinc, selenium, iodine. So switching over to foods that are gentle and nurturing. So for example, if you're struggling with low energy, moving over to B vitamins, C vitamins, matcha instead of coffee, things that are going to like ashwagandha, that are going to moringa, that are going to nurture your nervous system, but still give you energy and still give you power. Um, Cut out as much sugar and processed food as possible, because that makes you more prone to aggression. It makes you more prone to anxiety. It makes you more prone to worse sleep. It drains energy. So comfort eat, but eat healthy foods for comfort. Make yourself like a big bowl of soup with some nut bread or some keto bread. Um, Comfort yourself with things that don't create large insulin or sugar spikes. There's a direct connection between sugar and aggression, and the less time you want to spend in a state of anger and frustration, the more you want to reduce and lower those sugar levels. It also allows your body to repair faster, your gut to repair faster, your nervous system to repair faster. Most of your nervous system is in your gut. Okay. And one of the biggest reasons that people struggle to heal their gut is because they don't heal their nervous system first. You cannot repair anything or heal anything from a nervous system that's in fight, flight, freeze, because it's focused on getting you out and away from a situation. It's not focused on healing your body. Even your circulation moves differently when your nervous system is in fight, fight, freeze. And then you want to think hydration. You want to think taking supplements like Mega Hydrate, or like I love Ocean as well for electrolytes. That's what a new one I tried recently. Lemon is one of my favorites, like squeezing a lemon straight into water with some cucumber is amazing for getting your electrolytes in. But you want to make sure that you're able to absorb the water, and that level of hydration that you're consuming instead of it going straight through you. It's one of the biggest ways well, it's the number one thing that your body uses to detox, like to take out the trash, to take out the toxic hormones, to take, like, literally you cry, right? You need water to cry. You need water for everything in your body. Water literally is the biggest preventer of disease there is, and dehydration is the number one cause of illness, right? So dehydration is a big deal. If you're not hydrated and you're stressed, you need to get hydrated, because it will dramatically also increase your energy levels, and it will make it easier for your body to move your blood around and get your nutrition, get your immune system, get your oxygen to the places that it needs to be to do the repair work inside your body and your endocrine system. Last but not least, get away from toxic people, right? And if you know your partner is toxic, I don't care about any excuses that your ego has around this. If you know someone is bad for you, if you know someone is hurting you, find a way to get away. And when you're away, make a plan, not a plan for going back and taking more, a plan if you have to go back, for going back and getting out. Okay. Sometimes removing yourself from a toxic environment is a short-term plan, and sometimes it's a long-term plan. But you cannot heal from a place where your body knows it has to go back into a system, a person, a situation that it hates. That means if you have a toxic job, a toxic relationship, um, a toxic environment, like literally there's mold or there's viruses or something in the environment, you have to physically and energetically protect yourself. Your body does not lie to you. You cannot live in a toxic environment and have a calm nervous system. Your body's going to be warning you. It's going to be telling you you're not safe. It's going to be telling you that you need to get out. Okay. Okay. Okay, Kavita saying, I have a lot of issues with my eyes. Can you please help? Thank you. So immediately getting Archangel Metatron coming in and wanting to vacuum your third eye. And I'm getting a lot of people with the same thing. And he's saying to me that you're scared of your psychic senses and of your psychic gifts. You're scared of seeing the truth about people, about situations, because it just feels so harsh. And there's a lot of lifetimes of being physically punished for seeing the truth and knowing the truth. So let's just release those lifetimes from your third eye, please, and ask for an instant healing so that 2020 vision can be restored through Creator of all that is. Okay, Ivy saying, hi, I was diagnosed with a mass in my cervix last May. I've been working on truly understanding what to learn through the experience, not only to heal the obvious, but to grow. Am I missing something? There's a couple of things when I'm scanning your energy, Ivy, that it's just more experience. You would like that you would know if it was more experience. The energy side of it is that you are working only on your own traumas in your childhood. You need to work on the collective consciousness. You need to work on sexism. You need to work on the collective around sexual abuse, around marital abuse, around it's because where it is in your cervix, it's around like birth. Like cervix is literally trauma. So it's abuse of your children, abuse of mothers during like postpartum um, pregnancy and conception. Is like the use of the reproductive process to control or harm a woman. It's very common for abuse to start during pregnancy or around pregnancy, or for a woman to be pulled into a relationship because she's feeling like she needs to have children and she has no more time. And it's inherited, is what they're showing me. They're also saying that you need to detox, darling, and you're trying to detox your gut, but you need to detox your liver and your colon. So things like colonic hydrotherapy, things like liver detoxes. Um, and they're also showing me that you need to allow yourself to be supported. Part of your trauma is that you're trying to do it all yourself, right? It's a belief that um, you're not worth the effort, you're not worth the investment. It's very difficult to completely relax and let go and face very deep emotions, particularly around sexual trauma and sexual abuse, even if it's inherited or ancestral, if there's no one you can really completely collapse around, especially if you have other adult responsibilities. Okay. But detoxing, I would also recommend adding things like activated charcoal, um, bentonite clay. And the reason for this is that whenever it comes to cysts or you're detoxing hormones, that literally the body will like put the extra hormones or the extra toxins inside the bubble that becomes the cyst or the tumor, etc. So for it to be able to start to dissolve it, you must give it a binder to get the toxins out so that it doesn't cause sepsis, so it doesn't cause like a major what they call like a healing crisis. I have a free detox series on the website, guys. It takes you through step by step how to do the detoxes, if you want to know more about that. And we go deep into this in Medical Intuitive. This is what we do over 6 months in Medical Intuitive Mastermind. We teach you how to reverse and recreate your body from the ground up. But yeah, it's normal when you're starting to work on things yourself. I call it like a triple threat. You want to be working on the nutrition, you want to be working on the spiritual, and you want to be working on your emotional environment and your support system, because illness comes from isolation from self, isolation from God, isolation from our true feelings, our true needs, our true wants. Okay, let me have a look. Okay, Azima saying, I've been having headaches for the last 2 days and feeling heavy. Can you please scan for anything or messages, please? I've got your Archangel Raphael here, and I'm literally hearing the word allergies, and I'm hearing the word sinuses. You're taking pain medication, you're not taking allergy medication. I would go down to your pharmacist and ask them. It's like right here. It's in your sinuses, darling. So I'm going to ask for an instant healing. Allergies around being offended or insulted, like being really disappointed. So can we release being offended, being insulted, being really disappointed by how someone sees you, how someone treats you? So here we go. Going to ask for instant healing on your headache. There's also a lot of stuff around hydration. They're showing me that the electrolyte thing really applies to you. And I would drink nettle tea to really help with the histamine reaction. Patricia is saying, hi, Sky, can I get a scan about my resistance to self-care and drinking water? Patricia, resistance to self-care is a neglect wound, okay? You don't have resistance to self-care. You have a fear that when you start caring for yourself, the grief, the loneliness, the rage that you felt at being neglected, like being emotionally abandoned and ignored and not being properly nurtured and taken care of, will come to the surface. So it's easier to continue in what's familiar, which is neglecting ourselves, than to make self-care familiar, particularly if you're in an environment where people are still neglecting themselves. And I've seen this a lot around communities where, for example, if you're dropping off your kids at school and you've done your hair or you've done your makeup and none of the other mums are taking care of themselves, you stand out like a sore thumb. I've seen this where in families, if suddenly you're like dressing well and taking care of yourself and exercising and everybody else is not, you stand out like a sore thumb. When you change behavior and neglect is familiar, it's no different than when you start losing weight and everybody else isn't doing it, or you start making money and everybody else is in poverty. It sucks you back in. Can we get I've got Archangel Ariel coming in here to help you heal the neglect wound, darling. And can we also dissolve the denial so that you can be present with the price of that neglect because you don't really see it as a wound? It's kind of like what you're saying to yourself is, why am I this upset? Like you said, what is it? Why am I resisting self-care? Um, you don't see it as a neglect wound. You're not able to be present with it. So I want you to start sending unconditional love to that part of you that was neglected, and seeing neglect as an actual form of trauma, seeing neglect as an actual form of abuse, because it is. Okay, and so it is. Iris is saying, "Hi, Skylar. I suffer from hot flashes. After a healing session, they stayed away for some weeks, but then they kept coming back. Could you give me an insight of the reason?" Okay, let me have a quick look. Okay, I've never had this from a scan before when it comes to hot flashes, but they're showing me like Epstein-Barr. So I would use a virus protocol and a parasite protocol. Um, the energy is of like it's old energetically, it's old anger at being taken advantage of, um, having to give and give and give and give and not receive. So can we release the old anger and allow you to forgive yourself and forgive others? And can we also show you how to change that behavior without guilt? Can we give you creator's perspective, definition, understanding of how to process and release anger instead of judge your own anger? Can we show you that anger is just hurt? There we go. And so it is. Jenny says, totally off topic, but I adore your hair. Thank you. I need a little bit of toner, but I really like the highlights this time round. As for the topic today, how do we integrate, embody, and maintain balance levels of stress and feeling safe without cortisol? Okay, so cortisol is an essential hormone. It's actually how you wake up in the morning. Without cortisol, you literally wouldn't wake up, right? So you can't live without cortisol. It's a very good question for that reason. Okay. Um, so it's not about living without cortisol. It's about mm, creating safety, basically. The ways that we create safety are incorporating habits into our routine that regulate us naturally and avoiding situations that tip us um, into a toxic level of stress. Everybody knows that a little bit of stress is really good for you. It makes you live longer, it makes you more resilient. It's too much stress over a prolonged period of time that causes the problem, right? So basic things, have a routine, get up at the same time, go to bed at the same time, meal plan, right? Because when you're tired, meal plan doesn't mean you have to have every meal planned. Meal planning can just mean that you've made an extra pot of soup that week and frozen 6 different portions, or that when you made too much rice and beans or cannelloni, or that you froze the extra stuff. It can mean that it can mean that you've made an extra few um um vegetable risottos and stuck them in the fridge or the freezer. It doesn't mean that you have to have every meal planned. It just means that when you're feeling the most exhausted, you're not looking around for what am I going to do and how am I going to solve this problem from that place of stress, right? It's like the nurturing you're looking for from food is already there. Um, Incorporate warm things into your routine, things like drinking hot cacao, things like drinking maca, things like little acts of self-care. So for me, you guys are going to laugh, but I am obsessed with tumblers and Stanley cups. I think I have like about 7, but there's something so nurturing about making ice um, with cucumbers and ginger and um, different fruit in it. It's very sensory regulating, right? To be playing about with water and fruit, even at the age of like my mid-30s, right? Um, Little things make a big difference. When I've had a stressful call with a client that's dealing with a terminal illness, or when I've had an argument with my partner, there's something about reaching for the strawberry ice, and putting it in with my coconut water and watching those little pink ice, cubes bob. There's something about making a matcha latte with, my oat milk and a little green matcha bear, like a frozen green matcha bear, that just brings out the inner smiles, like decorate for dopamine. I have like little purple pens on my desk. The cortisol regulation is in the details, right? So I have little pens that say things like "today is the day" and "don't worry, be happy," and little books like just lying around, little cards just lying around, like the Louise Hay affirmation book. Or it's, you want your eyes falling on little acts of kindness, little acts of nurturing, little acts of positivity as you move about your day. So you're getting little oxytocin and dopamine hits all the time, instead of it just being a sparse environment. You want nurturing to be seeping into you in that environment. It's in the things you eat, it's in how you move your body. So that is like one of the most important things, is gentle movement. Now, that can be your 10K steps every day. That can be in your yoga or your Pilates. That can be in swimming, but you must move, and you must move gently. The caveat is that when we're in freeze, we don't want to move because we're frozen, right? So we feel exhausted, we don't feel like exercising. And that's when you really have to incorporate that gentle exercise. It's when you think, I can't face the gym, or I can't face a game of tennis, or I can't face a big workout. But you can do an hour's worth of a walk, even if it's just like pulling your work treadmill out from under the desk, or if it's, going around the block 4 or 5 times listening to good music, or if it's dancing or rebounding. It's an energy of incorporating a nurturing routine. And I'm quite strong with my routines, because my life, being a high achiever, being a mom of 2, um, being a good daughter, being a good wife, it requires a lot of, being up against a lot of stress. So I have lots of little things that show that I nurture myself, and I also plan into my work schedule self-care. Um, I plan saunas and swimming and um, walks. So if I have the kids and I know my husband's away for work, for example, I'm planning a beach day, I'm planning a picnic, I'm planning something that's going to incorporate physical movement and endorphin hits and nurturing, right, in the outdoors, in a way that I can include my kids. If I know he's there, I'm asking when they're down, can I go for, the sauna or the swim, or can I call my friend or whatever. I'm making space for nurturing myself. It's as simple as doing your sock curls. And you guys are saying like you love my hair. It's my sock curls. I literally like wrap my hair in like my little orange and red sock curls. Little acts of self-kindness are a big deal when you're very busy. Those moments really anchor you back in your body and make it feel safe for you to feel your feelings. The other very underrated intervention is journaling with yourself. So, not just journaling to manifest, not just journaling like describing your day, like journaling as if you were writing to your best friend, and write to your best friend and then read it as if you're receiving that letter from your best friend, because you might think you're trying to get recognition, validation, visibility, connection from other people, but really you need it from yourself, you need it from God. And that only comes from building a deep relationship with yourself. Most of us are too scared to do that. So making that space to get to know who you are now, to get to know how you feel now. Um, it's really, really, really powerful because trauma is not created by us going through hard things. It's created by us going through hard things alone. And that's not just alone as in separate from other people. It's alone as in separate from the light of our own consciousness, our own presence, our own witnessing. It's that self-abandonment, that self-neglect that we find so hard to face, right? And this is particularly important for children, for um, because they're modeling what we do, what we say. And especially if you come from an environment of emotional neglect, of physical neglect, the divine action is just as important as the energetic action. Frequency first, but then frequency is naturally followed by movement. It's the law of momentum. It's the law of magnetism. It's the law of manifestation. Frequency is always followed by movement every single time. So let's just take a minute to shift you guys from the frequency of force to the frequency of freedom. Oh, you guys felt that. Some of you are really not understanding the antithesis to feeling trapped is feeling free. Oh, the virtue that you are mastering is physical, emotional, and spiritual freedom, and you get to own that. You get to claim that. You get to know that. Can we give you creator's perspective, definition, understanding of freedom? There we go. And that it is just a form of entrapment. It's just another illusion in the matrix. It's just another prison that tells you that you have to sacrifice yourself, destroy yourself, hurt yourself, and that's love. That's not love. Doesn't matter who you're doing it for, the partner, the kids, the work environment. It's not love. That's trauma. That's sexism. That's conditioning. Oh, there we go. That's an inherited pain. Can we release that, please? Some of you are really mistaking guilt for love. It's stuck actually right in the womb space. So can we release that from the mother wound, from the sister wound, from the Madeline wound? Oh, from the prostitute wound. There we go. And let's just claim freedom. Let's release the belief I'm trapped, I'm enslaved, I am owned, I belong to. Because it's in the womb and the genital area, there's a real energy of some of you are confusing arousal and sexual chemistry for being owned, being possessed, because that's what used to happen with marriage when women were property, and when women were enslaved. So can we release the shock and trauma? There we go. And can we release the pattern of loving your abuser? It's real because it's a survival mechanism. It's not real because it's true love. If you're a slave and there's a plantation owner that's in love with you, you have to live a life as if you're in love with him, because otherwise you could end up dead. If you are married to somebody who you hate and who you don't know, and you have to sleep with them and you have to have children with them because that's what society dictates, you have to believe you're in love with them. You have to fall in love with them. You have to lie to yourself as a way of surviving, right? But it's still not real love. So anywhere where you're in love with your abuser, can we release that trauma response, please? And can we show you the difference between that and love? There we go. Can we show you the difference between real sexual arousal that comes from freedom and respect and really sharing values versus arousal as a safety response, as a way of emotionally regulating a broken partner, a broken masculine, because of war, because of father wounds, mother wounds, any lifetimes where you were taught that you had to use, or where you had to use your sexuality to regulate trauma in your partner, whether it was religious, whether it was hierarchical, whether can we release that now, please, through Creator of all that is under the law of grace. Okay, and anywhere where you're still confusing rest with laziness, let's release the shock and trauma of that. And so it is. Okay, Tom is saying, I'm stuck in huge trauma, anger, aggression, and violence that was never expressed, all suppressed. My body and nervous system are inflamed. I don't know how to get it out other than attacking. My love, not all therapy can be not all healing work can be done in isolation. And in my experience, the fight response and the fawn response when it comes to trauma are the most difficult to heal by yourself, exactly because of what you're describing. You can't unleash that level of rage without having somebody to hold the space for you, because it requires a certain amount of loss of control and surrender. And that is what you're most afraid of, because when you lost control and you surrendered, you were attacked, you were humiliated, you were bullied by the very people that were supposed to hold you. And that's why therapy is such a powerful container. It's because that person that you're in healing with agrees to hold that unconditional space for you in return for a financial exchange instead of in return for an emotional exchange, right? Because in normal reciprocal relationships, you're expected to give something in return to your friend, to your family, to your children, etc. Whereas with therapy, the exchange is, it's a small financial exchange versus an emotional exchange, especially when you're in a place where, because of a specific trauma, you cannot return that level of support. You can't hold space for somebody else when you're working through your own brokenness. You simply cannot. Anger, because we judge it and we're afraid of it. We're afraid we're going to hurt somebody else. We're afraid that we're like the very people that abused us. We're afraid it's never going to heal. We're afraid of how hurt we really are. We're afraid that deep down we're weak, because that anger is masking every strength we were never taught, every skill that was absent, every act of neglect that we had to ignore. The world is a brutal place sometimes. And when you're a child that's not being taught the emotional and spiritual skills, particularly as a boy and a man required to thrive, you have to pretend that you have those skills. And that's terrifying, right? It's not good for the people that you're abusing at all. I'm not justifying abuse in any way, shape, or form, or violence in any way, shape, or form, but it's terrifying for you as well. It's like someone putting you in an airplane or a helicopter and saying, fly it, and never teaching you how to fly it. And people you love are in the back, right? Someone telling you to fly the helicopter doesn't mean you know how. But you don't have a choice, because if you don't fly the helicopter, then you can't survive, right? You're going to lose the people you love anyway. That's what it's like when you're stuck in violence trauma, narcissistic trauma, psychopathic trauma, bipolar trauma. We often see it from the outside, but narcissistic abuse, domestic violence abuse, anger and rage abuse, when you're in perpetrator archetype, there is still a neglect wound. It's absolutely 1,000% still a neglect wound. And it's a neglect wound that was covered by masking instead of covered by fawning, right? It's a person that went into fight instead of going into please, which is where you get the codependent energies. But it is absolutely, like, violence and anger are absolutely healable. Many, many men have walked this path. And they've had to, whether it was domestic violence at home, whether it was war trauma, whether it was inherited. Men are taught and bred to be aggressive and to be violent. Okay, there's not a movie you can watch, there's not a place you can go where men are not taught to be aggressive and violent and taught that that's a very important part of their masculinity. It just needs to be mastered. You just need to focus on your emotional mastery. You cannot get rid of anger, and you're not supposed to, but you have to develop your other emotions and your mastery and your control over them so that anger is not running the show, right? I'll give you an example from the work of Brené Brown. So she talks about this when she was watching male fathers with their sons on the football pitch. So little boy, 5 years old, falls down, hurts himself, and runs to his father in tears. And his father says to him, "Stop being a little girl." Right? It's literally, stop being a weakling, stop being a little girl, and get back in the game. Get back in the exact words were "get back on the line." And that was the exact moment that that little boy learned to turn his fear into rage. What he should have learned is how to turn his fear into courage, right? But because he was shamed in that moment, because he was taught, don't be a little girl, right? He went into shame, and the shame became rage. Instead of having someone get down to his level and go, it's really hard. Fear is a big feeling, but we're going to put some brave in your pockets, right? We're going to make our energy big. We're going to make our heart big. We're going to remember how good you are at this and how powerful you are. And we're going to remember that practice is what makes us stronger, right? We're going to remember that we have to get hurt sometimes to achieve greatness. And I know you have greatness in you. We're going to find that courage, right? They got told to turn it into rage. And this happens in sports. This happens in the army. This happens in war. This is how patriarchy affects men. Because it doesn't want emotionally intelligent men. Emotionally intelligent men, spiritually intelligent men become Gandhi, become Martin Luther King, become leaders, become warriors, and they become people. They become movers of people. They become like Jesus, like fishers of men. Emotionally powerful men are dangerous to the status quo. Emotionally powerful men will protect and provide. And men are born more emotionally open and more emotionally sensitive than women, right? So it's not what we're taught that men are emotionally dense. They're not. They are emotionally castrated. It's done on purpose, so that they're easier to control, so that they can only connect through sex, so they can only control through violence. But it can be undone. It's just programming, it's just conditioning. It can be undone. It's no different than a woman trapped in depression or in hurt. A man trapped in his rage is no different than a woman trapped in her fear, right? It can absolutely be undone. There are millions of men worldwide that have already undone it. Rage has no power over you. It's just an energy, and energy can be changed. Okay. It's the courage you were never taught how to embody and how to feel. It's the skills and the emotional mastery that you had to mask because instead you were shamed instead of being empowered. And it's going to hurt a little bit, but you deserve to be supported. Okay. I genuinely, I really recommend normally men working with men when it comes to rage, because normally the damage was done by men. The same way as I often recommend women working with women when they're working through fear, because normally the damage was done by mom. See what resonates, but you need to find someone that you trust, which I know is really difficult when you're stuck in rage because you don't trust anybody. But I'm going to give you a bit of homework. Choose 11 male therapists, good ones, not ones that are superficial, not ones that have taken the red pill, ones that have what you want: emotional mastery, loving families, like ones that have what you want, and then 11 different interviews. Okay, not one, not two, not three, not four, not for anybody else, just for you. 11. It takes the average person 7 interviews before they find their therapist or their person. Okay, so I'm giving you homework, and I don't normally do that. Okay, last one. Milu is saying, hello, could you tell me which jobs would be best for me to apply at this point in my life? I don't want to fall back into something toxic. It's not about the job, it's about the money wound. You need to have a look at why you are carrying so much guilt about money. You just believe it's wrong to want money and that money is bad, and then that's attracting jobs and people that have money that punish you for wanting it and for needing it. Money is as natural as breathing. We need money like we need oxygen. You need money to, buy carrots for dinner. Okay? You need money to, gosh, I need money to go to the soft play with my kids. I need money to buy a coffee. I need money to help the people I love. Money is as natural as breathing, and there's no shame in needing or wanting money, right? So can we ask the angels to come in and just clear this fear around needing and wanting money? And the people that hurt you when you received it, or that shamed you for receiving it, or acted like you owed them, and that's this, it looks like it's a mom and dad wound for you, like this energy of, I gave you something, now you have to do as I say. It's a control wound around money. Let's show you that nobody owns you because they gave you money. Just because somebody pays you doesn't mean they own you. This is not like the 1800s. Slavery's been abolished, at least in most countries. There we go. Okay, can we clear all contracts and agreements to exchange your soul for money? Okay, that's looking good to me. Okay, last thing is, I'm gonna go up because I have a feeling I should go up. Angels are sending me up. I mean, the list of questions. Okay. Sharon saying, could you please scan what's keeping me looping in fear in order to release me from it? Thank you so much. Okay, let's have a look. Hmm. Okay, so what the angels are showing me is that when you're doing healings, you're focusing too much on the trauma. Um, the trauma and the emotional release from identifying the original trauma and the original hologram is the beginning of the healing, not the end. What it does is it gives you the exact blueprint of how your subconscious mind is creating now based on that trauma. It does not teach you how to create something different, right? It's still very powerful because it takes you back to a place of not creating from a place of fear. But if you don't give yourself a powerful vision, something exciting, something like, there's a reason the Bible says without vision people perish. There's a reason for that. People need vision. Food is spiritual. It's not just physical. You need more than food and water to survive. You need a vision. You need a dream. You need something to get up for every morning, right? That my dreams are simple. Like, my dreams are my children. My dreams are, everybody on this planet having spiritual medicine and detox medicine available to them. Those are my dreams. It's what gets me up in the morning, even when I'm having a bad day, right? It's what gets me up in the morning after I had miscarriages. It's what got me up in the morning when I got hit by a car. It's what got me up in the morning, when there were different difficult financial situations. You need a vision powerful enough that it gets you to rise instead of drown. Your vision has to be bigger than your fears. It has to be, and this is why it's so important to connect with God, because God knows the greatness he put up in you. He knows the gifts that he put in you. If you told me that I was going to be a medical intuitive, I would have laughed in your face when I was like 19, 20 years old. I was just a law student doing my law degree. My vision for myself was like having a job where I made like consistent £1,000 a month. I was scared of getting on a train by myself. I suffered with extreme anxiety. I couldn't even order in a restaurant by myself. I dreamed of being healthy instead of having like an autoimmune disease, and I thought it would never happen. God knew that I was going to have all of those things and so much more, right? I dreamed of mastering somebody else's modality. God gave me my own. Um, there were so many things that God will go above and beyond. Go and ask God for a vision. a vision powerful enough for you to rise to, a vision powerful enough that if you can bring it to the earth, you'll be proud of yourself for the next 20 lifetimes. You need a vision. You have a spiritual hunger that's bigger than the trauma. And if you don't get a vision that's bigger, you go back to what's familiar. If looping in fear is familiar, you'll never master the skills required to start looping in Dharma, which is your, your spiritual mission or divine life purpose. Okay. I love you all very much. For those of you that know, we're starting Medical Intuitive. If you're interested in becoming a medical intuitive, if you want to know how to do what I do, it's the best container ever that's starting. So drop me a DM if if you're feeling that call. If you just want to discuss it, if you're like, is it for me? I'm not sure about the curriculum. I'm not sure if I'm good enough. I'm not sure if I'm ready. Whatever the hell it is, talk to me. If you're being called, talk to me, because this work is serious work. Humanity needs it. And that's part of what I'm here for. We're also doing angel healing and seven-figure psychic. Quite a few of you have come back to me saying you want to join Medical Intuitive again because you want to work on your business and you just want to be in my energy. Guys, that's what seven-figure psychic is for. If you want to blow up as a spiritual teacher, as a spiritual healer, and you want to be in that energy, if you want to be in that unconditional love that I provide in the containers, and you want to get that support from somebody that's really nurturing your authentic energy instead of trying to get you to be somebody else, or only focused on money versus actually trusting that the money is already on the way, it's you being your full self that allows everything to unfold. That's where you need to be. Okay. You're more than welcome to join Medical Intuitive again. I'll be happy to have you. But if it's your business you want to blow up, I need you in seven-figure psychic. That is where we're doing that. That is where the glow up financially is happening. I know I've kind of kept it on the down low. Tom, I'll put the link for when it starts, because we just changed the dates. We just changed the dates by like a week. But it's early September. It's like the first week of September. Should we DM? Yeah, DM me and I will drop me an email so I can send you the curriculum. I'll answer you anyway and I'll voice note, and we can go from there. Last but not least, the calendar is still open. I only have 2 spaces left at the moment. It's filling up fast. It always does. But if some of you have said that you're struggling with cysts, I saw today, someone with Epstein-Barr. There's a bunch of other health things going on. If you need help with health things, if you need help with deep trauma and you don't really want a group container, if you know you're not going to be able to go deep enough in a group and you need someone to really go there with you, talk to me about the private one-to-one stuff, okay? It needs to be a good fit. I only work with people that I know I can get amazing results for and that really trust me. But I wanted to say that because some of you, I can feel you hovering. I can feel you hovering. And then you message me when you're in crisis and I'm like, holy crap, we're going to have to stick you in the emergency sessions, or there is no space because I've already stuck somebody in the emergency sessions and I hate disappointing you guys. So currently we still have space for 2 people and then I'm done. Like that's all I can manage with 2 kids and the rest of the life to run at this point in time. Okay. I love you all very much. I will see you soon for more readings. There's a free angel healing Telegram group. It's been quiet for a wee while because I've been very busy with the bubbas, but I do free readings on there on a regular basis. And there's over 400 free readings available on there and meditations. I'll get Rosie to tag the free Telegram group as well. If you just want to stay in that frequency, but you don't know when the lives are, you don't know when to catch the lives, and you always kind of want to be in that energy, that's a good little wee group to be in. I love you guys so much.